I'm going to start again. Hello! What's up, people? This is Jamesmon making another YouTube video about religion. And today I'm talking about subtext. Now, subtext. We all know words like atheism, atheist, Muslim, Christian, evolution, abortion, fundamentalist, terrorist. But the subtext of these words is different to different people. It's completely subjective what the underlying meaning of these terms are. There's a simple psychological test you can do to find out someone's perspective on things, where you read a list of words and then ask them to say the first thing that comes into their head when the word is read. This shows the connection or the mental connotation that's strongest with this person towards the particular word, right? My idea is that we try and change public opinion or perception regarding religion by means of subtextual rebranding. So I'll explain a little bit more about this. Governments have always been notorious for changing the subtext of words over time. They do this in order to shift public opinion or to mask intention. For example, in the UK and the US, the term terrorist has been massively shifted since the subtext of the word terrorist has been massively shifted since September the 11th. If you did the psychological test on the general public before September the 11th and included the word terrorist, Muslim, etc., you would get a very, very different set of results than you would get now. Presumably before September the 11th, the results would be varied, relating to different countries, groups, events, etc. However, now the rebranding of the subtext of the term terrorist and Muslim have been shifted in the West completely. The government uses expressions and terminology deliberately because the press then repeat them over and over again. The word still means the same thing by definition, but now it has a very specific connotation or subtext to it. As a demo, the first thing that comes into people's heads now when the word terrorist was said will undoubtedly be Muslims or Al-Qaeda or Iraq. And that's not the definition of terrorist, is it? But, you know, that's the connotation that is in the public mindset at the minute. And when the word Muslim was said on the list, in the top responses would undoubtedly things like suicide bombs, you know, war, etc. Not only is this exactly what the government wanted to happen, but it's a powerful demonstration of the ability that rebranding of subtext can have on public opinion. It's newspapers and news reports that are the tool that the government use. Perhaps, you know, just suggesting perhaps this is why political parties put so much money into newspapers. So, what's all this got to do with religion? I submit that we initiate a rebranding of the subtext of religious terminology, which religious people use as a defense, or have used as a defense in almost all of their responses for all time. For example, words like faith should no longer mean faith in the religious sense. It should mean outright belief without any evidence. Sacred should mean violently protected, and so on, the subtext of the words. So if we keep hammering home a new, more accurate subtext behind these terms, I think the public opinion will start to shift a little bit. Everyone knows that the subconscious mind is a lot more emotional than the conscious one, and it's the subconscious mind which gives us the reactions to these words, the subtext of them, the feeling behind the word, the emotional connotation behind it. And we haven't got any control over this because we're constantly refining it from the events we witness every day. That's just how the brain works. Concepts get added, emotions and experiences get added. For example, if you've never been on a date and then you went on one and had the most brilliant and bizarre evening of your life, the word date would conjure up all sorts of different feelings after the date than it would have done before. You know, someone says date, and you know the subtext of the word is different based on experience. So if we put our subtext truer to the subtext that currently exists with the religious terminology, the umbrella terminology that religious people use, I think that public opinion can actually be changed almost unnoticed via rebranding. You know, marketing companies do it all the time. They rebrand their brand. just with a few campaigns, and everyone's opinions changed. Look at evil bastards BT at the minute. We are hitting home on a connotation. We are rebranding the emotional connotation of a word, and this is how public opinion gets changed mimetically, as Dawkins would say. What do I think should be rebranded? For a start, terms that describe someone's faith. Remember, faith now means belief without evidence. Faith means belief without evidence and nothing more. Okay, words like Christian, Muslim, Jew, pagan, Mormon. These should no longer have the overprotected subtext that the religious have given them over the past hundreds and thousands of years. There are no religious people, only people who have been indoctrinated. There are no longer any Christians, Muslims, Jews, or otherwise, only people who have been indoctrinated. Examples of how, as an atheist, you might use this idea. Suppose that you're approached for one of your YouTube videos or whatever, and someone says, "Hi, I'm a Christian," and blah, blah, blah. Then what you do is you reassociate the word instantly in your head, and they didn't say, "Hi, I'm a Christian, and I believe whatever." They said, "Hi, I'm a victim of indoctrination, and I believe whatever." You see? We, as atheists, by the way, which now the new subtext should be individuals interested in social progression, open-minded individuals interested in social progression, are the only ones who are not blinded by faith, remember, belief without evidence. We rebrand the terms religious use and thus eliminate the power of the subtext behind them. Okay, so remember the most important one for the meantime, whenever someone says, "Hi, I'm a Christian," whatever, that means, "Hi, I'm a victim of indoctrination and I believe whatever." It's not even that. It's, "Hi, I'm a victim of indoctrination and I have been emotionally blackmailed into believing whatever." What's the difference between us rebranding subtext of religious words and religious people rebranding subtext of scientific or atheistic words, like evolution, abortion, atheism? The difference, as has always been the case between the religious and the non-religious, is our subtext will always be right because they are related to what is true, what is factual, what is based on observation and logic and reason and evidence. We don't have faith because, remember, faith is belief without evidence. We have belief with evidence. In fact, only with evidence. Or we should, you know. The religious people always try and come back at us and say, "Oh, well, you believe in the Big Bang and whatever, and there's various bits of evidence which haven't been yet. You know, there's gaps in the theory or whatever." But we would never say we are 100% certain that that's what happens. That's the difference between us and religious. We say that we strongly believe that this theory could be correct, and if it gets disproven or proven, then we'll change our mind. That's the crucial difference between the non-religious and the religious. It's ridiculous that they expect us to already have solved the riddle of the beginning of time and space when we haven't even sent men to the next planet yet. These things take time, and we've only had about 10 generations of people who have actually been allowed to explore science without being persecuted by the religious. So they're just a bunch of arseholes, basically. Whoever decided to put fear and guilt as the underlying basis of religion is probably the most evil man who has ever existed, more so than even Hitler and the rest, because it is this and this alone which has kept religion so strong. But I'm ranting now, so I will stop. To us, Christian means someone who has been indoctrinated, because they have been indoctrinated. They have been emotionally blackmailed into believing farcical, whimsical, nonsensical, long bereft of any meaning, nonsense, but long bereft of any meaning other than comfort. To them, evolution means we come from amoeba. Whereas to us, in brief, it means the development of species via Darwinian natural selection based on vast research and proofs evident in the world we live in. You see, that's our subtext, that's their subtext. We have to rebrand subtext. Ours is based on logic, reason, and we stand on the shoulders of thousands of hardworking scientists and logicists before us. We add to the pillar of human knowledge and understanding. We don't blindly follow nonsensical dogmas written in supposedly holy pieces of very old fiction. So, in short, how do we stop the ever-desperate and foul gameplay of the religious movements? We shoot down the subtext of their terminology, highlight it for all the bullshit that it really means and stands for. To repeat, faith does not mean faith, it means belief without evidence. A Christian is not a Christian, he is a person, he or she is a person who has been indoctrinated. Spirituality is not a religious term. Spirituality means empathy or emotion. Fact, plain observable fact. For anyone who can put two and two together and read between the lines, this shit is just obvious. That's all from me. Once again, this is Jamez Mon. Get back to me on anything you're thinking about, and I'd love to hear from some people who have been indoctrinated. See ya.